llore más. A que no piense en mí. Si yo te había olvidado, por fin había logrado no pensar en ti. Si todo fue blasfemia, tú nunca me quisiste, porque mientes así. Si no es posible que me engañes más, no implores más, no me busques más. Escucha este consejo, no vuelvas a engañar en el mundo jamás. ¡Ay, ay, ay! Como ayer, como ayer, como ayer, como ayer.
Dicen que muere de espanto
Como ayer,
aquel que visiones ve,
como ayer,
pero dicen que muere de espanto
como ayer,
aquel que visiones ve.
como ayer,
Yo he visto la muerte en Sanco,
como ayer,
no sé si me moriré.
como ayer,
Mi madre me dijo un día,
como ayer,
Quito, ¿por qué tú no cantas?
como
Mi
ayer,
madrecita me dijo un día,
como ayer,
Quito, ¿por qué tú no cantas?
como ayer,
Si yo te di la garganta
como ayer,
de acero y mampostería.
como ayer.
Vaya Irene, sabrosón con ese tren. El tercero sinfónico.
Como ayer, como ayer, como ayer, como ayer.
Well, good morning if it's morning, good evening if it's evening, and good night if it's night. And a big hearty salam alaikum to each and every one of you that's listening to us live or listening to us in archives. I gotta tell you, it has been a very eventful weekend and last week. We are under attack. Three big incidents happened last week. We had this guy in Florida sending pipe bombs out to a lot of people in the Democratic Party. We had another gentleman, well, for lack of better words, who attacked a synagogue and killed 11 people in Pittsburgh. But there is one that is not getting that much media attention. And I do want to speak about this. There was an attack in Kentucky on Thursday, where Miss Vicki Lee Jones and Maurice E. Stallard were also gunned down and killed by a white supremacist. Incredible as it may seem, I hear and I've heard older African American people say that they thought they would never see these things again. I gotta tell you that these things are nothing that's new up under the sun. These things have always been, and most likely will always be. My heart goes out to the people who were murdered by these cowards. I don't know how to put into words how much this has affected me. Miss Vicki Lee Jones and Mr. Maurice E. Stallard, this dude that went to go that did kill them, tried to go to a church first. See, they got to remember what happened in Charleston, South Carolina. Well, this monster was trying to do the same thing again. So our hearts go out to Miss Vicki Lee Jones and Mr. Maurice E. Stallard from Kentucky. May their memories be a blessing. Now let's talk about the other thing. There was a madman who went into a temple, a synagogue, and murdered 11 people. 11. One of them was a 97-year-old Holocaust survivor for being Jewish. Incredibly enough, there is a double standard in this country when it comes to these mass shootings. I don't see the outrage. I don't see the outrage. I don't feel the outrage. What I am. And until we, as spiritual workers, leaders, or whatever it is you want to call us, don't band together and put these petty things aside, nothing will work. We need a layer of protection around all of our houses of worship, whether it be a synagogue, whether it be a church, whether it be a munaso and ile. See, because my friend, Professor Charles Porterfield, said it very well to me a couple of years ago. See, guys, it starts out with one group of people. It always does. He tells me I am always ready, and I say, why? Because they can start off first with the African Americans or first with the Jews, and then it'll all go down the line. We just saw it. South Carolina, the gentleman who killed Ms. Lee and Mr. Stallard went to a church first. Now a synagogue. Sooner or later, it'll be an ile, a munaso, one of our temples. And as the people in the Arab community in Pittsburgh raised over, I believe now, $80,000 for the synagogue, I asked us all to get together. And we got to look out for all spiritual things. I know it's hard for us to say, well, you know, these are Christians, these are Jews, these are this, these are that. No, these are spiritual people, just like ourselves. Many roads lead to Nsambi. Many roads lead to Olodumare. Many roads lead to God. So let's see how we as a community pull these things together. Well, I know I'm going to have a lot of naysayers and a lot of people saying this and saying that. But I ask you to put your money where your mouth is. Because Lord knows we are living in bad times. I'll be right back.
Negro, que me dé la mano, tiene que ser negro fino. Blanco, que me dé la mano, tiene que ser mayombero como yo.
Negro, que me dé la mano.
Que me dé la mano.
Tiene que ser negro fino.
Negro fino.
Blanco, que me dé la mano.
Que me dé la mano.
Tiene que ser mayumbero como yo.
Ay, negro, que me dé la mano. Tiene que ser gallo fino. Blanco, que me dé la mano. Tiene que ser mayombero como yo.
Negro,
negro que me dé la mano. Tiene que ser negro fino, blanco que me dé la mano. Tiene que ser mayombero como yo.
Negro que me dé la
Que me dé la
mano.
mano.
Tiene que ser negro fino.
Negro fino,
Blanco que me dé la
que me dé
mano.
la mano.
Tiene que ser mayumbero como yo.
Tiene que ser, tiene que ser, tiene que ser mayombero como yo.
Tiene que ser, tiene que ser, tiene que ser mayumbero como yo.
Tiene que ser, tiene que ser, tiene que ser gangulero como yo.
Tiene que ser, tiene que ser, tiene que ser mayumbero como yo.
África, 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 África nada más, África te estoy llamando,
Africana más,
África te estoy llamando,
africana más,
yo te llamo y te llamo,
africana más,
ay África te estoy llamando,
africana más,
ay África qué linda eres,
africana más,
ay yo te llama y te llama,
africana más,
ay África, África mía,
africana más,
África, África mía,
africana más,
África te estoy llamando,
africana más,
África, África mía,
africana más,
África mía,
africana más,
Agua que se quema, agua samire candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua que se quema, agua samire candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua que se quema, agua samire candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua que se quema, agua samire candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua San Miguel, agua San Miguel, agua San Miguel Candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua San Miguel, agua San Miguel, agua San Miguel Candela brava.
agua que se quema, agua San Miguel Candela brava,
Agua va a caer, arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Arriba los seres que están coronando allá arriba.
agua va a caer,
Ye maina, maina ye maina,
ye maina,
maina ye maina,
ye maina,
maina ye maina,
ye maina,
maina ye maina,
ye maina,
maina ye maina.
ye maina,
Maína, chinche, maína.
che maina,
Maína, chinche, maína.
che
Maina,
Maina cuenga,
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 Maina,
Maina cuenga.
Yvette, the Motown witch, just said something that really woke me up. I was thinking, you know, we don't only have to be careful in our places of worship, but also in our stores and shops, for those of you who have brick and mortar shops. See, guys, this does not stop there. Until we come together, we're all open targets. Meaning your shops, meaning your stores, your spiritual stores, your botanicas, your herb shops, all these things are in danger. So just like I said the names of Miss Lee and Mr. Pallard a little while ago, the couple that was killed in Kentucky, I am now going to say the names of the people, the Jewish people that were killed inside the temple. Not the temple, the synagogue, sorry. David Rosendahl, Cecile Rosendahl, Bernice Simon, Sullivan Simon, Daniel Stein, Jerry Romakowitz, Richard Godfried, Joyce Feinberg, Rose Mallinger, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger, and last but not least, Daniel Ledger. Again, our prayers go out to these people, but most of all this, as a community, our magic has to go out towards these people, towards all people who are oppressed. Remember, Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter, and our hearts and sentiments are with all these people. Today I have a short story for you called The Rabbi and the Ghost. It comes from Short Spiritual Stories, or spiritualshortstories.com. It was a New Year's night, and the rabbi was walking to his home when he met a shadowy figure. He was stunned to see that it was a man of the city who had recently died. "What are you doing here?" the rabbi asked. "You're supposed to be dead." "Rabbi, you know," replied the ghost, this is the night when souls reincarnate on earth. I am such a soul. "And why were you sent back again?" "I led a perfectly blameless life here on earth," the dead man told him. "And yet, remarkably, Rabbi, you are forced to be born here again." "Yes," said the other. "When I passed on through about everything, I thought I had done what I found was so. Good, I have done everything just right. My heart swelled with pride, and then I died. So I was sent back to pay for that." The figure disappeared, and the rabbi, pondering, went on to his home. Shortly after, his son was born to his wife. The child became Rabbi Wolf, who was an extremely humble man. The author of this spiritual story is unknown and greatly appreciated. It would know who wrote it, or this would provide the source so it could be contacted here. If you decide to reprint this story, or say it anywhere, just please put the link that you saw it on Spiritual Short Stories. Remember, it is called The Rabbi and the Ghost. I'll be right back.
Most of us at some point in our lives have somebody that means more to us than anybody else has ever meant before or will ever mean again. Sometimes it's a long-legged lady if you're a man, or some tall, very smooth man if you're a woman. And in some odd cases, they get kind of crossed up. We won't talk about those. But in my case, I learned how to really love somebody from not a very pretty lady, not at that point in her life, not sexy at all, but just a nice old lady who used some very nice old gnarled hands to make life kind of nice for me at that time when I really needed somebody. And it wasn't after I got older and started to look around for things. It was before I even knew what I was looking for. And probably, since I consider myself somebody who writes primarily, out of all the things that I might have written, my favorite thing that I've written has to be about this favorite old lady of mine. Grandma's hand clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played a tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, Billy, don't you run so fast. Might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in that grass. Grandma's hand. Then Grandma's hands soothed the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache sometimes and swell. Oh, Grandma's hands used to lift her face and tell her, she'd say, baby, Grandma understands that you really love that man. Put yourself in Jesus' hands. Grandma's hands. Then Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Oh, Grandma's hands, boy, they really came in handy. She'd say, Matty, don't you whip that boy. What you wanna spank him for? He didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have Grandma anymore. If I get to heaven, I'll look for Grandma's hand.
And that was Grandma's Hand by Bill Withers. Well, I want to send a quick shout out to all the shops that are listening to us right now. Conjure New Orleans, which Mama Star happens to be at right now this moment, guys. So if you happen to be inside or around, anywhere around New Orleans, make sure you pass by Conjure New Orleans and tell everyone that I said hi, and give a big hug to Mama Star and Hoodoo's and Moise, who happen to be hanging around there. Ifa Ibeyu is not in shop today because she just said she was out on the street. So let's, with Love Supply Botanica, let her know that you love her. Go around there and check her out also. Our shop is back open again, of course, kimbisa.org. We're doing our thing, we're giving out readings, and we're selling our products. So go on by kimbisa.org and check us out. Also, do yourself a favor. Oh So Divine in UK, they're open up today, so go ahead if you happen to be in London or in the UK, you want to check out a good old store over there, check that out. Check out my friends at Goddess of Magi, a good consulting firm that it's got their business up and they are helping people lift up, promote, and move up their conjure shops, online conjure shops. Also check out Miss Yvette the Motown Witch at themotownwitch.com. Guys, these are shops that I believe in. These are stores that I believe in. These people are doing their things. They're doing their things for the community. So do yourself a favor. Go out and check out these wonderful shops, whether they're online or whether they're a brick and mortar. and make your orders and make them last. Remember that. One hand washes both hands, and both hands wash the face. Yes, oh yes. Well, guys, I guess it's time for me to pull out The Adventures of High John the Conqueror by Stephen Sandfield. Okay, sorry, I'm looking for the story. Who's the Fool Now? It is out of The Adventures of High John the Conqueror by Stephen Sandfield, American Story Classics from August House. One of the house slaves, George, was always going back to Old Master with stories of the rest of the slaves. Stories about who was taking what, or about who was pretending to be too sick to work. All sorts of things no one wanted Master to know about. Naturally, High John was particularly fond of George, and he decided to teach him a lesson for tattling his ways. One evening he greeted George at the slave quarters. John was smiling, that big old smile, and that strutting like a rooster stepping out in high mud. "What are you so happy about?" asked George. "Wow, you never guess what I did today." "What did you do?" "Why," said John, beaming like a full moon, "in August, I cussed out Old Master." "You cussed him out?" George asked in surprise. "What did he do to you?" "Nothing." "He did nothing. He ain't going to do nothing either. I cussed him out just as much as he pleased. I called him everybody he could think of. I cussed him from front ways to back ways, sideways and up and down. And you know what, George? He didn't say nothing, and he never is going to do or say anything." George turned around in his mind for a minute or two. "Well, the next time he fusses at me, I'm going to cuss his ass out too." He didn't have to wait long for his chance. The very next day, George dropped a tray while he was serving Old Master and Missy in mid-afternoon snack. Master turned on him and started cussing him in something terrible. "You stupid, clumsy, no good." But George cut him off right in the middle of the anger. "Master," he said, "you got no right to talk to me that way. You are no better than a wallowing in the mud. You are a dumb that." Of course, George didn't get to finish. Master grabbed him by the ear, dragged him, and gave him a good slavery time whipping. He was in such terrible pain that he crawled back to the slave quarters, and there John was waiting for him. "Why, George," he said, "what happened to you?" "What happened to me?" George moaned. "I cussed out Old Master, and he did this to me. How come he didn't do anything to you?" "George, I didn't cuss him out in his face. Did you?" "Of course I did. Isn't that what I was supposed to do?" "Oh, George, what a fool you are," chuckled John. "When I cursed him out, he was up in the big house, and I was down by the creek. George, some fools' tongues are long enough to cut their own throats." "You best be careful, George. You best be careful." George was very careful after that. It seemed he had learned his lesson, and even stopped bearing. But he didn't forget what John had done to him. Almost a year passed when he came whistling and bouncing up to George, and John said, "You'd never guess what I did." "You didn't go cuss out Old Master again, did you?" laughed John. "No, I didn't do that. I'm not even going to do that again." What? "I did look up old Missy's dress." "Hush your mouth," said John. "They're going to kill you for talking like that." "I don't care. They're not going to do anything to me. I looked up her dress just as long as I pleased. And let me tell you, John, it was sure sweet." John tried to put the idea out of his head, but was sure it would get him in trouble. But it kept on coming back again and again. If A fool like George can get away with it, he laughed. Then it should be easy for me. A few days later, just about the time the sun was dropping behind the trees in the west, John was walking to the big house, and old Missy was alone in the veranda, sitting in a rocking chair, with her feet up on the railing, sipping some mint julep out of a silver cup. John couldn't help himself. He crawled to the edge of the veranda and stuck his head, starched under the petticoat. She let out a scream, and they had woken up the dead of their ancestors that they had been buried within 100 miles. Master came running, and when he saw what had happened, he flew into a rage. He had John tied to a tree and gave him a whipping. But back and forth, he could have killed the lesser man. John couldn't even crawl back to his quarters. He had to be carried back. He lay there bleeding and sweating in the dirt when George idled up to him and asked, "Why, John, whatever happened to you?" John could hardly speak. "I picked up the missus' dress," whispered John, "and Master now nearly whipped me to death." "How come he didn't whip you when you did it? You didn't look up her skirt, did you?" John, "Well," said John, "isn't that what you told me you did?" "Oh, no," laughed George. "When I looked up Missy's dress hanging on the clothesline, you know, John. Folks say the price of your hat ain't the measure of your brain. That sure isn't true for you. What a fool, John. Who is the fool now? Don't you be looking up anybody's dress. You see, but John, once in a while, got things coming to him. Well, while y'all doing that, let's play a little Watching You.
You're far away, but I can still see you clearly. Whoa. combination, smile, body, physique. Whoa. All the ladies I've seen are really fine, but baby, I'm watching you. You're right down my line. Walking down the street, watching ladies go by, watching baby. Walking down the street, watching ladies go by, watching you. Ooh, you're right for me. You're right to the T, baby. Walking down the street, watching ladies go by, watching you. What must I do to let you know I'm taking you? Walking down the street, watching ladies go by, watching you. Whoa. Walking down the street, watching ladies go by, watching you. La 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 la.
That was Slave with Watching You. Well, guys, today's Tough Shit Tarot of the Day says, your constant contrarianism is a source of physical illness in your body. Try open up your mind to something you've never believed in you could accept. You will experience a positive change in your body. Well, I also came up a wonderful quote today. It was actually something that I borrowed from someone. It is a Spanish saying, but it has a lot to say about what's going on lately in our spiritual community. Envy and hate are the spiritualities of the mediocre. We spend too much time hating people for the things that we perceive that they have and we do not. We wind up envying people for things that they simply don't have, something that you have concocted inside your mind. So today, I tell you to stop being mediocre. Stop hating just for the reason of hating. There is so much more out there in this world for you. We spend our time trying to emulate each other instead of trying to find our own truths. See, our own truths is what will set us free. Your own ancestral cord. Not trying to emulate this person or be this person or hating this person or envying this person. There is nothing good in envy and hate. Everything is in self-love and knowledge of your ancestors. Let's think about that for a minute. And let's feel good about it with Nina Simone.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Yeah, yeah. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Well, I forgot to tell y'all that Hoodoo's and Moise is going to be in the Conjure Shop in beautiful Omaha, Nebraska this weekend. So if you happen to be in and around Omaha, Nebraska, and you want to see Hoodoo's and Moise in person, please do go by the Conjure Shop. Izzy and them have a wonderful, beautiful shop there in Omaha, Nebraska. Hoodoo's and Moise will be signing copies of his book, and also we'll be giving a couple of classes on ancestral reverence. So do yourself a favor and go by there. And if you happen to be in the beautiful mile-high city of Denver, Colorado, please do go by our sponsors of the Mile High Conjure Gala, Ritual Craft, and say hello to Loretta. Miss Loretta is there and she's doing her thing. And guys, it's a wonderful little shop located in beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Denver, Colorado. Do yourself a favor. Do myself a favor. Remember, one hand washes the other and both wash the face. Go see these lovely people. Miss Mama Star herself, Cat Star Cassis, is tending the shop at Conjure New Orleans. So go by there and check them out also. Remember, you can also go and check me out in kimbisa.org and see me here each and every other day on It's 12 O'Clock Somewhere. I want to thank each and every one of you that's coming by and saying hello and that patronize me each and every day. There is, of course, one more thing I want to say before I get off the air today. People have asked me, why have you taken this slower term? Why have you taken this? Well, guys, it's easier to love and to accept than to hate and envy. Doesn't make my magic any stronger or any weaker. But it does get me in tune with my ancestors and with my community. See, guys, there's too much stuff going on in all of our communities. We need to stand together. It is crazy to me how America is upset, angry, mortified about a black man taking a knee and not accept and still not be outraged by the senseless killings of our people in Kentucky and in Pittsburgh. I also found a beautiful little app this week that I want to share with all of you, because most of us are going through the same things. Although I do have a broad knowledge of herbs and plants, there are sometimes plants that I run up on in my backyard and in my neighborhood and in this new state of Texas that I do not know. So I went and I got myself a little app called Plant Snap. Plant Snap is a wonderful little app that you just take a picture of the plant or the weed or the tree, and it will bring out the scientific name and the regional names of the plants. So guys, remember, it's called it's called Plant Snap. It is a very nice app. Check it out. You're gonna love it. Okay, so do yourself that. There is something else I want to say before I actually go today, and it brings the ire of some people, but it brings the attention to what I'm trying to say. Remember, guys, if your family does not accept your sexuality, your gender, or identity, I am now your family. I, Candelo Kimbisa, love you and accept you as you are. As always, may all the egos and shadows that accompany you have all the necessary light. From where I sit, that's it. Salam alaikum, everyone. Salam alaikum.
One and one half wandering Jews, free to wander wherever they choose, are traveling together in the sangre de Cristo, in the blood of Christ mountains of New Mexico. On the last leg of a journey they started a long time ago, the arc of a love affair, rainbows in the high desert air, mountain passes slipping into stones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones. Thinking back to the season before, looking back through the cracks in the door. Two people were married, the act was outrageous, the bride was contagious, she burned like a bride. These events may have had some effect on the man with the girl by his side, the arc of a love affair, his hands rolling down her hair. Love like lightning shaking till it moans, hearts and bones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones. She said, why don't we drive through the night? We'll wake up down in Mexico. Oh, why? I don't know nothing about no Mexico. And tell me why won't you love me for who I am, where I am? He said, 'cause that's not the way the world is, baby. This is how I love you, baby. This is how I love you, baby. This is how I love you, baby. One half wandering Jews return to their natural coasts, to resume old acquaintances and step out occasionally and speculate who had been damaged the most. Easy time will determine if these consolations will be their reward. The arc of a love affair, waiting to be restored. You take two bodies and you twirl them into one, their hearts and their bones, and they won't come undone. Hearts and bones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones, hearts and bones.
It's 12 O'Clock Somewhere was brought to you by Ritualcraft, kimbisa.org, and ProfessorCharlesPorterfield.com.